One. This is Crypto Kid Podcast. So today I have a special guest, the CEO of Living Opera, Miss Soula. I appreciate you taking your time and coming on the show. And why don't you give the audience a brief introduction about yourself and how you got started in the Web3 space?
Sure. Well, I'm thrilled to be here. So up until, oh my gosh, like 2 years ago, I was living life as a full-time opera singer, and I am still doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But the pandemic sort of forced me, at least, and not all my colleagues, but it forced me to think outside the box in terms of the future of my industry. I had already been creating content for Living Opera, which was just like content for emerging opera singers, YouTube videos, Instagram and TikTok and stuff like that. That might sound basic or just like a normal thing to do as an entertainer, but in my industry, I was one of the only ones doing it. So people were like, whoa, like, what's she doing? Why are you doing that? But I just saw that as a way to like easily reach my colleagues and my peers and my up and coming younger colleagues to in a way that I could just like inspire them and create a community, a global community that was lacking in my space. When the pandemic hit, jobs were canceled in the industry, no live performances. Everybody's at home going like, okay, so what do we do now? And we had just built a platform on how to be an opera singer and there's no work. So we were like, well, shoot, like, how do we pivot this? Enter my CTO, COO, best friend, technologist, Christos Makrides. And he was like, do you know about blockchain? And I was like, no. And so I went on this like massive like learning curve, learning about NFTs, technology, and just how we could possibly leverage Web3 to bring like a new economic revival to the classical music sector. And as I learned more, I was like, okay, I'm not really sure how we fit into this. It seems like a little bit weird. And it's like in terms of music NFTs, it just seems like that's more dominated by like other genres of music. And it wasn't until like the winter of 2021, I attended Art Basel and then I attended NFT NYC. And I just felt like the energy, I mean, I know it's a little bit different now than the market we're in right now. But I was like, whoa, there's something here that is like so electric, so exciting. It reminds me of when I first started singing and performing and all that excitement and electricity I felt around that. I haven't felt that for a long time. I was like, okay, I'm going to grab that feeling and I'm going to figure out how I'm going to bring my community into this space. And so I'm answering your question. It's like very long-winded, but
no,
that's
go
a
for it.
podcast format,
Yes.
right? Like I'm supposed to talk, right? Okay. So long story short, I ended up alone on Christmas that year because of weird COVID stuff, job cancellations, other stuff like that. And I'm just like sitting there going, well, this stinks. I guess I'll just throw all my effort into work. So I started learning more about generative art and what is that? Because that was like a word I've been hearing all in Art Basel and NFT NYC. And when I sort of just Googled what is generative art, immediately the name Mozart popped up. And I was like, wait, what? There's a connection to Mozart with this? Okay, I'm in. And so when I discovered that Mozart had actually created a generative music game in the 18th century, I was like, oh my gosh, this could be the basis for how we step into this space authentically and not just jumping on the bandwagon because it's cool. So that's my long looping version of how I got here.
Greatly appreciated. Yeah, and especially during what happened with COVID, people were more starting to work at home and trying to figure out how to make money from their office or at the in the room, making the rooms in their office. And with Web3, there's just so much to learn about. There's always something evolving, and it just gave an opportunity, and just like people actually got curious about it. And at that time, I believe the market was up too, better than now.
Yeah.
And but hey, we got something to look forward to. The I believe Bitcoin's like up 35%, so it might be the bull run. Fingers crossed. So, what is Living Opera from 3,000 feet up? Give us the elevated pitch.
Well, it just depends who you ask on the team, firstly. But for me, how I see it, this is sort of my baby. And for me, it's really about the people. We're a community first. And I know that's like a buzzword in Web3, but firstly, I was already building that in 2019 before, that became like I don't know. I don't know in Web3 if that was already a thing, but in my field, I was like, no, people around me need community. They need a place to fall back on, and they need a place to thrive. And so firstly, that's how I see Living Opera. It's really a movement that brings health and well-being to my sector. But I also think it's a place for people to come and learn about just different genres of music and different movements that they're not currently engaging with. So, in my community, when I talk about NFTs and crypto, they're like, why are you doing that? And I'm just like, listen, there's something here. It's going to benefit us if we can just get past the discomfort of the unknown. And when I'm talking to people in Web3 and they're like, but opera, like, why would we engage with that? And I go into how it's going to expand what they're doing as well because of the complexity of the art form. And well, actually, let me go into this. It's not fully answering your question, but there's something about live performance that is unamplified and really requires you to lean in and engage that I really like about what I do. And it's different than if you go to a concert where, it's like a huge stadium. It's like when you're listening to classical music, it is super focused, and there isn't the possibility of having thousands and thousands of people. It's like you're there, you can actually see the people around you, and it's a much more community-driven kind of music. And I really like that. And so for me as an artist and as an entrepreneur, that's the kernel of what I'm trying to do with Living Opera and what we have succeeded up until now in doing, but we just want to expand it and invite more people in to get uncomfortable. I want crypto folks to come in and be uncomfortable in classical music. I want my opera community to come in and be uncomfortable learning about finance. It's like, we could do something really amazing. And I know it's possible because of just the microcosm of our team. When Christos and I started working together, it's like, these are disparate fields. Like, how does an economist and an opera singer build something relevant? But we know from what we've already done in Living Opera with our NFT collections and with our community building and with our online classes and with our courses and what we're building now, that we can actually really change lives. So long story short, it's a movement that is going to bring delight and expansion into people's lives.
Absolutely. And it's amazing that you're wanting to diversify the space between opera, classical music, and crypto punks or crypto nerds. And I like Mozart and what is it? Yay. Oh, there was another one. Dang it, this is bad. I forgot it. All right. Well, the other one that's second best to Mozart. You know what I'm talking about?
Well, it just depends. Like for you, that could be something totally different. I think a lot of people, when they think about Mozart, they think about Beethoven.
There you go. Sort of that's the one.
Each other. Yeah, yeah. And because Beethoven writes the bangers, the Fifth Symphony's banger.
All right. So let's go deeper into it. What are the problems you and the team are looking at and uniquely qualified to solve?
Yeah, so there's a lot of issues. These issues pre-existed the COVID pandemic, but they were just exacerbated by it. And so the first thing really is declining wages. I mean, you have top level artists being offered entry-level wages because of the decline in the industry. And so my first sort of burden, or the thing that gets me up and gets my goat every day, is how do we expand the marketplace? How do we invite more people? How do we create more unique experiences? And I see blockchain as a tool to just sort of revive that, insofar as we know in one sense, we're committed to it, but out in the outside world, for 99% of the world, it's sort of this weird buzzword thing. What is it? We don't know what it is. And it piques people's curiosity enough. So part of me is if I can engage with this space and bring this music that everybody says is boring, with this movement in crypto that everybody says is a scam, but actually prove that there's something here, I think I can bring this marketplace and expand this marketplace, because there's gonna be enough curiosity to actually like get enough people in the seats and realize, A, I like this music. B, it's really cool to watch that sound literally come out of somebody's face. Like, how does that happen? And I believe that if we just increase demand, then we won't have to worry about declining wages. I mean, when you just think about like, for an artist, for an opera singer, to learn 1 minute of music, it's like an hour of study. So I'm learning a 400-page opera right now, and I'm just like, I can't, I can't wrap my head around like the amount of work that is, and then to be told like that highly skilled work isn't going to be properly remunerated. So anyway, that's my biggest burden. I'm like, we need to get these wages up. We need to create more jobs in the sector. But the other side of it is personal responsibility on the part of the artist. So one of the things that I noticed, even in myself, when I started, like my only goal was to get on stage. I was like, I don't care about you. I don't care about this. I'm going to sing, And when I did, I knew it happened pretty quickly for me, despite some like challenges early on. I was like, oh, so now what? Like, what is this? Like, I'm singing. Great. Like, what? And it's because I didn't know how to think like an entrepreneur. I didn't know how to actually build a personal brand, regardless. Okay, so your product is opera singing. So what? You can make people want anything if you know how to package it properly. So I'm sitting here going like, how do I expand the genre? How do I expand my brand? How do I invite people in? And I have no business skills. So I was like, okay, I need to learn. So one of the things that I'm doing internally in the community is saying like, guys, you have to learn about finances. You have to learn about entrepreneurship. Social media isn't optional. You have to have a website. Like these are basic things that in my sector just haven't existed because there hasn't been an advocate saying like, do this. Right. we have like information in the schools. It's like 30 years old. We have sort of this like weird relationship to donor bases and sponsors and stuff like that, where we have to kind of like lie about the reality of being a performing artist. And so I'm like, let's get rid of all of that. Let's bring transparency into the sector. Let's teach people about entrepreneurship so they can actually build a brand that causes them to have multiple streams of income and thrive and be relevant members like of society and not feel like they're on this like bottom tier begging for work. I never want to hear the term starving artist again. I think that's total nonsense. There is no reason why any artist who's highly skilled and has really devoted themselves should ever be wanting for finances. I think that's stupid. And I think there should be expansion of this art form because it's really cool. Imagine this, and then I'll stop.
Go for it.
Imagine you're like, hey, I want to go out tonight. I want to do something different. You meet your friends, and the first thing you do is you just like have a glass of champagne. Then you have a piece of cake. Then you go to like a really cool museum with like statues everywhere and like dim lighting. And a woman walks out with like this huge gown, and it's like totally something you've never seen. And then this sound comes out, and you're sitting there for an hour with captive attention, just going, I've never experienced this before. This is like normal for us in our culture, but it's not normal for the rest of the world. Like they don't even know that that kind of experience exists. And it's less money than going to like a pop singer's concert. Like it really is. So anyway, I'm passionate about these things. Okay, I'm going off topic, but I'm just excited because I haven't gotten to talk about this for a little while. And I just really, really, really care about people's lives and seeing this expansion that I'm like waking up every day trying to promote.
I love the energy. And
yeah.
you are very passionate, like you said. And thanks to the internet and YouTube, you could practically learn anything you want to in this world. And
Totally.
it is about making society better as a whole and putting a few dents in the universe for sure.
Yeah.
So tell us all about the team and who is involved and what hats they do wear.
All right. So I'm the face of this thing, mostly because I'll just like talk to anybody and convince them to come to operas and like bug them to death until they do. But I'll also get up and create the content and, bring together various people. And I sort of have the vision behind these things, because you know, as Christos as CTO, he's definitely on the technology side. Norman has been performing, you know, worldwide for years and years and years, and they're firmly rooted in what they do. And I'm sort of like stepping in between these different areas, filling in gaps as needed. With Norman, I mean, he was discovered right out the gate in his early 20s. And he's performed all over the world. He's currently in Valencia, Spain. And so he's more on the partnership side of things, education. Our flagship course, Beyond Your Big Break, was his sort of brainchild. And then I finessed the content. He comes from a line of educators. So, and he also wants to partner with universities to bring, you know, real world experience into university programs. Because if you're paying $60,000 to learn how to be an opera singer, you might want some extra relevant information.
Right, exactly.
And then also just exciting opera companies about the possibilities of blockchain and crypto. And we actually have an interesting meeting coming up this week with a major opera company in Spain to talk about what we might be able to do for their donors, creating exclusive experiences using blockchain and NFTs, which I think is super cool. And with Christos, oh my gosh, well, he's like doing operations. He's the one that makes sure that, like, you know, stuff is legal and works. Paperwork.
There's a
we
lot
lean
of that.
on him a lot. It's like, hi, you're partnered with two artists. Hey, and I'm also like the one who will come to him and say, what if this happened? And it's like some crazy idea. And then he like sits down and probably cries. I imagine he probably cries first. And then he figures out how to make it work. But he's the one who introduced me to blockchain, and he's firmly rooted in that. He has another startup that does DeFi and other stuff. And he's an economist and he's brilliant. So we're sort of working that way together. And yeah, and also just bringing expansion into sectors that wouldn't normally engage with the arts. That's kind of the hat that Christos wears. And we also, he and I both do a lot of writing in the media and content creation. And yeah, that's pretty much the team.
It sounds like you have a powerhouse team there.
Do we? I mean, I don't know. It's like, I'm pretty sure I'm making both of them cry all the time, but it's like, it's all good. It's all good.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So how are you using Web3 technology in your work?
Right. So our main, like, major project right now is Magic Mozart NFT. And I talked a little bit about how that came about in December of 2021. And the project sort of expanded from there. It's interesting because getting into NFTs, there's part of any of us, I'm sure, that wishes we would have gotten in on it in 2021 when it was just like this crazy, like on fire sector. It's like, yeah, that just sold for $100,000. Like, wow. But part of me is actually kind of glad that we're launching and building the project now, because the aim for our NFT project is a little bit different than just like flipping NFTs. And in fact, we actually don't want people to flip our NFTs. So, yeah, I know. You're like, what? No. We want people to hold these things for a long time. So the way this project works is somebody purchases an NFT and then we put them to work.
Oh, okay.
No, so I have this community of performing artists, and they need to learn how to be an entrepreneur. So we provide them free entrepreneurship training through the sale of NFTs. We issue them a digital credential after they finish the training, and then they're eligible to apply for a micro grant. And the NFT holders vote on the proposals from the artist community and sort of journey together with that artist. And so our goal and our dream is to use these tokens to build a robust worldwide community that journeys with the artist. And I mean, my dream would be that we have like exclusive events where the artist community performs for the NFT holders and everybody gets to know each other. And like I said, bringing that expansion and like that newness to people who wouldn't normally interact with one another. So that's our main project. We have other ones that are like strictly art projects. We have one coming up in Greece where we're going to outfit me in a Greek fashion designer collection. And we're going to like create art NFTs. And that's just mostly for fun. There is some utility that we're experimenting with on the side with it, but it's for another day. And we're also creating music NFTs. So we created a new album called Dream Girl, which is a reworking of a really serious Wagner song cycle. It's not quite finished yet. So we're focusing on a lot of different areas with NFTs specifically. And that's our main focus in Living Opera, which I think is like a natural fit because we're a multimedia sort of educational, thing with two artists at the helm, right? So but for me, the main burden that I see with NFTs is creating utility. And I'm really passionate about that too, because I don't think people will hold on to these tokens or even take the movement seriously if we don't provide real utility and real value to people.
All right. All right. My landlord's going to Greece here shortly. So I was like, can I go? So
where's he going?
I forget. It's somewhere near Macedonia, I believe.
Okay. So in northern Greece. Cool. That's where my
Yeah,
family's
yeah.
from.
So, yeah, he has a lot of family up there.
Oh,
So
wow.
I was like, man, can you pack me in your suitcase? So, Sola, help us understand your backstory as both an artist and an entrepreneur.
Okay. Like, oh, good. That's an easy one. It's just okay. I have these bulletin boards. Let me show you this, right? This is me when I'm 18 months old.
Okay. Oh, little
Um,
baby.
yeah, I'm just a little baby, but my mom literally wrote on the back of this, the little opera singer. And I was
Mhm.
like, what? And she sent it to me a couple of years ago. And she goes, yeah, I've had this photo of you. I never realized what I'd written on the back. And I was
Oh.
like, that's kind of crazy. Um, Also, just side note, this is like perfect singing technique. I wish I could do this now. I don't know how to get back to this point. Spent thousands of dollars to learn how. Anyway, but all I have to say, I've been singing like before I could talk, before I could walk. I grew up around my dad's small business. He was a contractor. And so it was sort of like this dual life of
Mhm.
helping dad with the business. Like it's just small ways. Like I take messages or, like be like, oh, dad, like the bill for the concrete thing or something, like whatever. But like just growing up, it never occurred to me that people like worked jobs where they're like, I didn't know what benefits were. I was like, what is that? I don't like, we're self-employed. That's what we do. And then as an artist, of course, you're also a contractor. So getting into singing professionally, however, I sort of fell into that. It wasn't necessarily what I intended to do. I wanted to be an actor. I wanted to be an athlete. I was really good at playing basketball, very aggressive. But no, I eventually realized that was my passion and what I wanted to do. But going into opera wasn't necessarily what I wanted. I wanted to be on Broadway, but people said my voice was too loud. So I started learning opera and then eventually fell in love with that through listening to like the three tenors and even Phantom of the Opera, which a lot of opera people are like, I don't like that. But it just grabbed my attention and I thought it was super cool. In terms of becoming a professional opera singer, I did not take a traditional path. I hope this encourages anybody who feels like they're not on like the prescribed path, because
Mhm.
I tried my best to get on that path, like the thing you're supposed to do, and it just never happened for me, like not ever. I was discovered in a living room eventually in Berlin, Germany, after doing a concert in someone's house. I tried to do it the way you're supposed to with like the training programs and the right manager and all, and none of that. It's just been like, it's like there's been this like hand of providence in my life just putting me like, you're going to be in this room and you're going to sing here, and then suddenly you're going to be at the Paris Opera singing there. It's like, oh, okay, so that's normal. No, like I've had so many weird things happen that I've just learned to trust it. Like I'm not even surprised that I'm doing blockchain right now. I was like, oh sure, yeah, that's just, yeah, it seems like a normal thing for me to do. But I got my first break after that concert, and I think about 4 months later, I was singing in some of the biggest stages in the world, from a living room. you know, I don't know how to explain that. Apart from, I think if something's meant to be and you're supposed to do it, it's going to happen. And what's so funny is I've tried to open doors for myself. I've tried to force them down, and it's like, nope, they're not happening. And then there'll be crazy stuff like, yeah, you're backstage at the Philharmonic in Berlin, and then you meet a famous conductor and then suddenly you're launched there, or you'll be at a conference and make, you know, a connection there. And that's really how my journey in both entrepreneurship and my artistic life has been. I've tried to do it the way people say is right. And I've had to just finally like let go and realize that I'm going to be in the right place at the right time, like saying and doing the right things with the right people and be at rest with that. But it's not easy.
Exactly. And that's how magic happens. It's very magical when that happens, when it finally comes true.
Yeah, but it stinks. You're just like, man, I just want to like know what the heck is going on. You know,
Right.
I don't want, you know, man.
And I'm glad you brought up about your dad being a general contractor, because you remind me, honestly, you are just like my friend.
Really?
Like her name is Winnie Grace, so she'll probably get mad that I'm bringing her up, but oh well. Her dad's a contractor, and I used to work for him. And then she does like Broadway in West Palm Beach here
Oh,
in
wow.
Florida. So, and then she's just like so talented in the singing, and she does this like one woman show. But yeah, you're just like, I promise
That's
you.
so funny. Oh
Or
my
maybe
God.
she's just like you. I don't know.
That's awesome. That's cool.
So, talk about 2023 and the benchmark we'll see from the project.
Oh my gosh. So, you know, right now we're busy figuring out like how we want to structure our DAO. So we're creating a DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization. I mean, your audience knows what that is.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing something kind of interesting. So we're based in the state of Tennessee, and we're here strategically because there's special sort of laws here that allow us as an LLC to function as a nonprofit. So we filed the paperwork to have nonprofit status. And so that's like one really huge thing, because we want to be able to give people like tax benefits for investing in living opera, investing in Magic Mozart, because I'm really passionate about this project and getting it off the ground. And when we kind of looked at the landscape of NFTs, crypto, blockchain, everything, and also the landscape of classical arts, I was like, okay, I think we're going to have to go the nonprofit route, but I'm not mad at it. I think it's good. So getting that status and being able to just attract larger donors and get the program off the ground, that's going to be really huge for living opera. For me personally, I'm super excited because oh my gosh, y'all. So I'm from Canada originally, and I'm a dual citizen with Canada and Greece. But I've been in the States the last couple of years. I came here on like a special skills visa for singing. So I just want you to know I'm special. No, but I like, this has been such a thorn in my side. I've been applying to like get a green card and stuff like that. And I've kind of been in like a frozen state for a couple of years because of the immigration process. So I now have like new compassion for any person that's going through that. I'm like, wow, this is messed up. I've even been like, should I like become a voice for this? It's like, no, you've got too many things going on. Just settle down. But I'm super excited to be performing again. And so it's very meaningful for me. Like I said, being Greek, being a Greek soprano, which is like a specific thing for anybody who knows about that. I'm going to be performing in Athens in March, and it's my debut there. And I'm just super stoked. It's going to be in the Maria Callas Theater, who has been one of my idols, my whole life. And I'm performing one of her roles. And this really came about organically. It was just sort of amazing. And so it's just really meaningful for me just to have that chance and to go to my dad's home country where my parents met and be in that place. So that's a personal benchmark for me, in addition to launching Magic Mozart in its fullness. I'm super excited because next month we're already going, like, even though not everything's not built yet, we're already sending folks out with grant money. So next month, 2 of our students are going to Italy, and they're going to be taking voice lessons with my teacher in Venice. So we're going to have that content ready for token holders to see. And I'm just so excited about that, like telling these stories and, amplifying the stories of people who wouldn't normally have a spotlight on them. And so, oh gosh, I could go on and on, but those are some things that I'm just super, super excited about for this year. And I'm just excited to see what else is next, because it's like, you can plan as many things as you want. But like I said, you might, that hand of providence just swoop you over here. So, you know, it's like, these are the things that I know that I believe are happening. But we have so many exciting things. We're also building an app that will help a lot of people improve their practice time and convert sound into art. I'm sure I'm forgetting something else. I know Christos is going to be like, man, you just forgot so many things, but it doesn't matter. There's just so much that we have in store for people and for our community. And so I just believe it's going to be a huge and exciting year.
That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. And yeah, I'm sure you'll be great performing that in Athens. Yeah. Looking forward to seeing that.
Thanks.
So tell us more about the magic of Mozart NFTs and collections.
Yeah. So I'm really proud of this collection, even just like from an artistic standpoint, because okay. Like, should you say that? So in 2021, I was meeting people and they're like, just hire someone on Fiverr. I'm like, sir, ma'am, no, like, what are you saying? I'm just gonna like get like a cartoon drawing. I was like, no, this has to be done properly. So, okay. It's like a bit rude. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Artistically, every layer of Magic Mozart was planned. This isn't just some like, you know, cute thing. It was really fun for me with the initial like soft launch when people bought them. And then I got to like tell them, oh, this is like the story behind your NFT. So every layer is planned based on imagery from Mozart's final opera, the Magic Flute. And that's what creates the rarity in each NFT. So we have like a different jacket or different wig or the prop that he's holding from the opera, which is meaningful to the opera and points back to it. You know, stars in the sky, the sun, all of that points to some sort of imagery of the opera and adds to the storytelling layer. So that's one thing. But the thing that I think I'm most proud of is we actually rebuilt that generative music game that Mozart created in the 18th century. And so every token comes with a personalized minuet that's never been heard, and that person owns it and they own it forever. And it's composed on the blockchain. It's not like some MP3 thing. It's like, it's there. When you mint it, it's yours. And so I just think like from an artistic standpoint, that's pretty awesome and pretty unusual. But then on top of that, the utility where we are awarding grants and we are going to be seeing people living out their dreams because of the sales of these NFTs. And we're going to be creating a worldwide, even broader community than we have now. And we already have, just from our artist community, like over 30 nations represented on 5 continents. And it's pretty amazing. So I think I've spoken a little bit about how the project is going to work already, but I am so excited to just see how something like those voice lessons that we're paying for the girls to go to Italy, it's like $600-700, but their whole lives are going to change through like, you know, that's not a ton of money. Like, I don't think that's like pretty amazing that through basically the sale of 1 or 2 NFTs, we're able to send them there and change their whole lives. And they're going to come back with information that they really need, that they wouldn't otherwise be able to get. And then we, you know, as content creators, like they're going to create a YouTube video for us. We're going to watch the process, like watching them drive from Croatia to Italy, you know, all, by the way, they're going to get lost for sure. Like in Venice, it's like, you just cannot get to your destination. You need to leave like 2 hours in advance. Like it's until you get to know the island, it's just a mess. So that's going to be funny as well. I'm like, don't cut that part out. We want to see it. But I just feel like when this project is successful, it's also going to have a redeeming quality for the whole crypto movement because it's truly good. You know, I had somebody say to me in a meeting recently, like, it's not strictly illegal to do XYZ. And they told me some stuff they wanted to do. And I was like, do you know who you're talking to? Like, are you vibing with me? Do you think that that's something that I want to engage in? Like, not really. I'm trying to do good things, like not shady, weird things. And I think that through the success of this project, we're going to see a lot more people warm up to this movement and be excited about it. And we've been really inspired, by the way, like, I don't know what your opinion is on like Gary Vee and VeeFriends, but we've been really inspired by that project and just seeing how he's trying to like take good qualities and like instill them in the public eye and just say like, hey, patience is a virtue. Maybe you should work on your patience. Maybe you should be more generous. Maybe you should be more forgiving. And we think that's really great and a good example of how to use this technology. And of course, it's a profitable project, but it has a really great heart behind it too. And I think that if we can convince more people to go that direction, we're going to see a lot more community participation worldwide.
Yeah, Gary Vee is definitely someone I admire a lot, and it's actually got me to start podcasting about
Oh my gosh, that's
cryptocurrency.
amazing.
And
Cool.
and going back to what you said about the girls, it's the long-term value that matters the most,
Totally.
for sure.
Totally.
So what does success look like for Living Opera in the next 5 years?
Oh my gosh, how much time do you have?
As long as it takes. If you have to go, I understand. You're a
No,
busy woman.
no. It's
A lot of
cool.
things to do.
Um, oh my goodness. Well, obviously, I want to sell up Magic Mozart NFT collection and provide real value for the token holders. And we're thinking about brand partnerships, but how we could just excite them and delight them and surprise them through like perks in the NFTs themselves. That's something that we're actively working on, in addition to building out how is this DAO going to work? How are the proposals going to work? How are we going to sell these things, and who's going to participate? So getting that completely launched and vibrant and thriving, and just being like a flag, like just down in the ground, just saying like, yes, we did it. Like that is going to be such a weight lifted off of me just to see that come fully to fruition. Of course, just personally speaking, doing more with combining blockchain and music, and creating even tours around that. I'd love to see NFTs as tickets in the future. And we kind of want to pioneer that with our Dream Girl collection. One of the things we want to do is set up a concert tour and see if we can experiment with using NFTs as tickets to those concerts, even if it's small, like even if it's just 100 people. Like I would love to see that come to fruition and become how people engage with live music. So if we can pioneer that in any way, I would love to be able to do that. We have an app that we're building, as I said, and I really want to see that come out. It's so hard when you want to do everything at once. It's like you realize you can't. You have to just kind of like focus. And I know that from literally learning music. It's like I can't learn the whole roll at once. I have to learn it page by page. But like, why don't you apply the same thing to your business? It's like, okay, calm down.
Baby steps.
But in terms of like, if we're talking like 5 years out, I have this dream about having hubs like all over the world. So here in Nashville, to me, that'd be like a perfect hub for people to come, appreciate different genres of music, of course, mostly focused on classical music, because but be it like a community builder, like a space where people come in and really meet and really engage and talk. That's one of the things that I love. I was living in Europe for a long time, and one of the things I noticed when I was living in Austria is the coffee and cafe culture. And you will have people who literally come in and their morning, and it sounds decadent to us because we're in this like go work culture here in the States, but it really impacted me to see somebody come in and really just engage reading a full newspaper with a cup of coffee. And that's how they were going to spend an hour. And I was like, whoa, what's that? We're seeing like people come and truly have a conversation and really engage and ask questions. And I remember being like really convicted when I first came to Europe, because I realized I didn't truly know how to have a conversation. I was just mostly waiting to talk instead of absorbing the information, processing it, and then asking a relevant question. So anyway, I want to see that come into communities all over the world where we have different members. And I mean, right now, our main sort of concentration is of people. I'm trying to think where they are. We have a huge large group of our communities here in the States, but especially in New York City, Vienna, Austria, Paris, interestingly, and London. So, I mean, that's expensive real estate. So we're gonna have to figure out how that works. But I would love to have living opera hubs and just really have a space, because I don't really know anything else, any place like that, where it's like a community place around classical music. And I mean, I can't think of anything, and I always have my eyes peeled for it. So I would just really love to build that. And I've actually like seen it. I've like drawn it on a piece of paper. It's like, hey, the coffee bar is here, and this is where the performances happen, and this is where the practice rooms are, and this is where people are going to meet, and like kids can come and learn how to, I don't know, play the xylophone. I have this vision for it. And so that's what we're aiming towards. And I've had it on my list of like my dreams, like since 2019, even before Living Opera became a business. It was just like something in my mind.
Oh,
So,
really?
oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. You have big dreams, and there's no doubt that you're going to make them happen, make them come true. So, where do you currently get your inspiration from?
If you want to be an artist, you have to be constantly seeking inspiration. I read a lot. I actually don't listen to a lot of music because I need to declutter and like
Mm-hmm.
declutter sound, because sound production is such a huge part of my life. Um, and as an opera singer, I have to imagine the sound before I create it. I can't just create a sound. Like I have to hear it first. So right now, I'm spending a lot of time in nature. It's marvelous here because we live a little bit outside of the city, and there's a walking trail and there's a lake, and it's not completely rural, but you'll see deer, you'll see rabbits, you'll see different wildlife. And I like to go out there. And I even just like okay, when we were rebranding Living Opera, I had noticed, like, I kept on like studying these clouds, and I noticed there was like rainbows in the clouds. And that sounds like a weird thing, but just like Google it. Cloud iridescence is a cool, interesting thing. And I started to see them everywhere, and it became the inspiration for our color palette for the website. You can go there and see the colors that we chose, and they're very much strategic and like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, based on the inspiration from looking outside. But I like how slow it is when I'm in nature, and I need it because everything else that I do, and also how I'm personally natured, is like, so like, that I need to go out there and just be like, I wonder how many fish are in that brook. Oh, wow, look at that cloud, you know. Oh, hey, I wonder how many horns that deer has. I mean, like, I need to just like slow it way down,
Mm-hmm.
just get it all out of my system, and then I can come back and just come 110% to whatever it is I'm trying to achieve that day. And I think it's really important, because we need to guard our focus in this time, and we really need to cultivate a longer attention span so we won't be grabbed by every little thing that is presented to us. It's just like these things, like scrolling. It's like you can just input just millions of pieces of content per day if you want to, but what's that really doing for your life? I think that any person that can really just like harness their focus and really apply their time to what they really want to see, they're going to have a satisfying life. And I'm inspired by peace. I'm inspired by people that can just rest. And I aspire to be like that as well, to be a person that brings that kind of fulfillment and rest into other people's lives as well. And that's a constant like learning curve for me because of how I am. But yeah, go out for a walk today, guys. Just go out for a walk, get some vitamin D.
Oh, it's
Don't
very
put
healthy.
earpods in. Don't put the earpods in. Just like literally go out there. It's hard. Like you'll see how long 30 minutes really is if you're not trying to kill time with content and sound and music. It's like that's like a real exercise, but it'll help you in everything you're doing. And it's like it's a very good use of your time.
Yeah, enjoy the sounds of the birds singing,
Oh yeah.
the
All that. I
trees
mean, yeah, I mean,
moving.
sometimes this sounds silly, but it's like, I never do that. I wonder if I can like, and then I'm thinking about when I'm singing, and I sing this role that actually has to imitate sort of like little bird chirpy things. And so like even at that, it's like, okay, well, how does that authentically sound? I mean, it sounds corny, but it's like if it's your job to
Mm-hmm.
recreate sound, why wouldn't you?
Exactly, exactly. So, are there any predictions you'd like to offer for any of the industries you're touching in your work as a CEO at Living Opera?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So I definitely have a feeling about the music industry, but one thing I will say, and it's sort of like I would say a warning for us, any of us who want to really see blockchain. And I mean, not blockchain. Blockchain is going to have all kinds of uses, but I just mean more like the front facing, like NFTs, PFPs, artistic projects, we're going to have to get really serious about providing utility and value to the general public in this movement, or I think people are going to just keep dismissing it, and they shouldn't, because people are going to be engaging with blockchain whether they want to or not. And if some people can actually like get on the ground floor of this, it'll be like, I believe, like in the .com boom in the 90s, and it'd be really important for people's lives. So that's one thing. So we need to really think about what we're building, and building with integrity and building well. And the projects that will do that will be long lasting and profitable. And the ones who are still trying to operate in like a 2020, 2021 vibe, I think they're just going to like fall to the wayside. So that's one thing. And the music industry, this is something that predates COVID. And I was even talking to a producer that I know, and he's worked with all the biggest names. I won't drop them now, but you can just imagine. And I was asking him, like, what do you think this industry is going to do at large? And he said the future is going to be subscriptions and direct to consumer. So I was like, okay, so how would that work? He said, you're going to have to build up a following and sell directly to them. Because even for us with the major record labels and, the traditional model of business, we're having to diversify because our profit margins are just like going way down. And he's speaking as somebody who like creates, the pop hits and stuff. And I was like, oh, that's kind of scary. If you're saying that and you're working with, that, pop princess, so to speak, that kind of terrifies me. But so I think we're going to see an increase of artists really just taking control of their own careers, leveraging social media, creating their own brands, and sort of freeing themselves from the traditional business model. Because I think if we can really convince consumers to engage with NFTs, you don't have to have millions of streams. You can have 100 fans, 500 fans, 1,000 fans worldwide, and you can earn your living that way. And that's what I would like to see more of. And as, existing brands, big brands, engage more with blockchain, I think we're going to see more diversification within the music industry. And I really hope we do, because there's a lot of talent that's having like burnout and issues and quitting. And we need to hear those voices and those sounds, because they were given those gifts for a reason. And so I'm excited for that.
All right. Well, we're coming short to time. Is there anything you want to go over before we close?
No, I think I just, I really care about people's lives. And I think there's so much messaging in the world that tells you why you can't do something. And it's usually fear-based. And so I just want the audience to like remember, if there's fear in someone's advice, you should probably ignore it, because they're projecting more like what scares them than really maybe what might be your experience. Because if I would have listened to people, I never would have gone to Europe. I never would have been discovered. I would have just stayed small, would have been sad, And even now, pushing past people who's like, oh, that's stupid. Like, crypto is dumb. Why are you doing that? Like, it's okay. You can just think that, the worst thing that could happen is that I fail. What does that have to do with you? So I just want people to be bold and courageous and try, and just don't be afraid if it doesn't work out. Like, literally, who cares? If they have time to pay attention to your failure, they're obviously not trying in their own lives. Because like, I don't even know what's going on, like, anywhere. I'm so focused on what I believe I'm supposed to do that I only have time to celebrate others. I don't have time to tear anybody down. It's like, that's not fruitful for me or anybody else. So that's what I want to leave people with.
Yeah. And having that good energy and good vibes, for sure. So thank you. I really do
I
appreciate
appreciate
you coming
it.
on the show. And if you're ever in a cryptocurrency event in Miami or somewhere in Washington, D.C., I hope to see you there and have some coffee.
Man, I've been to those places a whole ton. Now we're just meeting. This is so dumb. Okay. All right. Well, next time.
Next time, for sure. Have a great one.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.